Happy Thursday, family, and welcome back. So let's talk about how Prince Harry's team just calmly, surgically, and unapologetically shut down Tina Brown's latest attempt at relevance. Because what we are not going to do in 2025 is recycle fake royal fan fiction and pretend it's journalism. Now, if you blinked, you might have missed it, but trust me, the implication was loud, the intention was messy, and the response? Oh, the response was immaculate. Tina Brown, former editor, professional name dropper, and now apparently auditioning for the role of Carol Malone 2.0, decided to float a story that Prince Harry allegedly referred to his own son Archie as "my little African child." According to Tina, this supposedly came from a conversation with Jane Goodall, a woman who, let's be very clear, is no longer alive and therefore cannot confirm, deny, or clarify a single syllable of this story. And right there, that's where the alarm bells start ringing, loudly, like a smoke detector with fresh batteries. Because when someone attributes a controversial quote to a deceased person, especially one who cannot defend herself or correct the record, that is not storytelling. That is narrative manipulation with a side of cowardice. And Harry's team clocked it immediately. They didn't waffle, they didn't sources close to the Duke, they didn't hide behind anonymity. They came out directly and said, and I quote, "The Duke of Sussex has never said anything remotely resembling what is being claimed. Tina Brown knows exactly what she's doing by inventing these words and attributing them to a highly respected woman who is deceased and unable to correct the record." Now, pause with me right there, because that wasn't just a denial, that was a character assessment. That statement did three things at once. First, it made it crystal clear that the quote is false, not misunderstood, not taken out of context, flat out never happened. Second, it exposed the tactic, inventing words and hiding behind a dead person's authority. And third, it told Tina Brown in the politest possible royal-adjacent language, "We see you, and this little game isn't clever." That is not PR panic. That is confidence. And let's talk about why this mattered enough for Harry's team to respond at all. Because normally they don't engage with every nonsense headline. They let a lot of foolishness float by unbothered. But this one crossed a line. And I'll tell you why. Because this wasn't just gossip. This wasn't royal sources say. This was a deliberate attempt to paint Harry as racially tone-deaf, strange, or fetishistic, all while dragging Africa, Archie, and Meghan's heritage into the mix. And that's not accidental. That's calculated. Let's not pretend Tina Brown doesn't know exactly how headlines work. She knows that slapping the words "African child" next to Harry's name will trigger outrage, dog whistles, and social media pile-ons. She knows it will be clipped, shared, and weaponized. She knows trolls will run with it. And she also knows that if she can say, "Well, Jane Goodall told me," she can dodge accountability. Except this time, she didn't get away with it, because Harry's team shut it down immediately and publicly. And here's the thing people are glossing over. Harry has spoken very openly about Africa for decades. He has deep, documented ties to the continent. He has worked there, lived there, supported conservation there. Africa is not a punchline or an aesthetic for him. It's a place that shaped his adulthood. So the idea that he would describe his own child in such a reductive, awkward, and frankly bizarre way doesn't even align with his public record. It doesn't sound like Harry. It sounds like something someone invented because they wanted it to sound provocative. And that's why this feels like the Carol Malone playbook all over again. Say something shocking, let it circulate, let the damage spread, then hide behind opinion or recollection when challenged. Except here's the difference. Carol Malone got dragged, publicly corrected, and humiliated on air. And Tina Brown, you see, she just got called out by a Duke's spokesperson with surgical precision. And you can tell this rattled her because suddenly the conversation shifted from, "Oh my God, did Harry say this?" to, "Why would Tina Brown repeat something she cannot prove?" Exactly. And notice something else. No corroboration, no audio, no contemporaneous quote, no other witness, just vibes, memory, and a story conveniently surfacing years later when it can no longer be verified. That's not journalism. That's gossip dressed up in prestige. And what really makes this sloppy is that Harry has been more careful with language than most public figures because he knows how words get twisted. This is the same man who sued tabloids over misquoting him. This is the same man whose every sentence is dissected. And we're supposed to believe he casually dropped a phrase that would immediately be weaponized, and nobody noticed until now? Be serious. Harry's team didn't just defend him, they protected Archie, and that matters, because Archie did not ask to be part of anyone's culture war clickbait, and invoking a child in a distorted, racialized narrative is where things cross from messy to unacceptable. And let's also be honest about timing. Every time Harry and Meghan seem unbothered, thriving, or focused elsewhere, these stories pop up. The pattern is tired. The desperation is showing. Tina Brown has been chasing relevance in royal commentary for years now, and every time the spotlight drifts, she escalates. Bigger claims, stranger anecdotes, less accountability. But this time, she miscalculated, because Harry's team didn't issue a soft rebuttal. They didn't say no comment. They said false, invented, and intentional. That's strong language, and you don't use it unless you're sure. And here's what I loved most about the response. They defended Jane Goodall, too. They made it clear that dragging a respected woman's name into a fabricated story after her death is unethical. That's not just about Harry, that's about integrity. So let's call this what it is. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a slip. This was an attempt to create controversy out of thin air by leaning on colonial stereotypes and shock phrasing. And it failed, because the Sussexes aren't playing defense anymore. They are correcting the record in real time. They are naming tactics, and they are refusing to let false narratives stick. And if Tina Brown thought she could toss this out and move on without pushback, she underestimated how done people are with this nonsense. Because the public isn't confused anymore. They recognize patterns, they see who keeps manufacturing drama, and they notice who keeps getting fact-checked. So no, Harry did not say that. His team said so, clearly, firmly, on the record. And the real story here isn't some imaginary quote. It's how quickly and decisively misinformation got smacked down. Let that be the headline. Because the era of say anything about Harry and Meghan and it'll just float unchallenged is over. The cleanup crew is on speed dial and the broom is swinging. And to Tina Brown, maybe it's time to retire the royal fanfiction and find a new angle, because this one didn't land. It backfired. And honestly, watching it happen was kind of delicious. Thank you for watching. I'm Smiley, and see you on the next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Sussex updates.